into Training Ground Dispatch here on the SDH Network. I'm Madison Cruz. Joined with me is one of the voices of Atlanta United in Jason Longshore. We're here to get you ready as Atlanta United hits the road to go face the Chicago Fire tomorrow at Soldier Field. Jason, we got the chance to watch a little bit of training today. You weren't here on Tuesday, but what are your anticipations like building up for this game on Saturday?
I think you heard it from Derrick and from Ronny Deila. You want to be more like you started against Nashville and less like how you finished. Nashville turned the game around. They had 70% of the ball after the 30th minute. You can't win games regularly like that. This team's not built to do that. It's built to be the opposite, to have 70% of the ball. And I think you just have to keep building to it. You know, this is going to be an interesting week because you go to Chicago, you go to Austin in the midweek next week for the first time, and then you come back home for a home match. So you're going to have to see some rotation. You're going to have to see some different lineups. Everybody's kind of dealing with this around the league. Sometimes these are the moments where individual performances become big, and you need somebody in this group to step up and really put the team on their back. It hasn't happened consistently enough. Consistency has been a big thing lacking. You've got to find a way, maybe not consistency over 90, but I think consistency in players stepping up and performing big, especially on the road.
Well, we had the opportunity to chat with Derrick Williams and head coach Ronny Deila today in media, and here's what they had to say.
What did it feel like changed in the match from up to the goal? I think you guys had about 60% of the ball, and then after that, they had about 70. Did they do something different? Did the game just evolve?
In the first half, they definitely started pressing us higher. So if you've seen before the goal, me and Louise must have did 5 or 6 slow passes. Just it makes them irritable, and then they feel like they have to jump. And when they do that, Clicky turns, plays Alexi into the pocket. Alexi turns, plays the ball. And then I felt after 35 minutes, they kind of pressed me higher. Every time I got the ball, I felt like Serge was pressing me quite quick. So then that would make me have to look at my options quicker. If they weren't on, go back to Goose. And then when we went back to Goose, we kind of forced to play a bit, which we needed to be more composed and try to find that extra pass. But like we said, we don't want to be passing the back to Goose and getting their team forward on us. But yeah, I think they definitely pressed us. They upped their press and gave us less time.
When those kind of moments happen, what are the best ways to break that up and get back to where you want to be?
There's so many ways. There's keep trying to do what you're doing, make sure you're in the positions to receive the ball, or sometimes you spin them. You sometimes get the ball out of your feet, play into the channel. Especially with our pace up front, I think we need to do that a bit more. So then we start stretching them. As soon as you start stretching them, the centre backs, defenders drop an extra 2-3 yards because they think this ball's going to come behind. When they do that, that's when you find the 10s in the pockets. So it's easy saying it. It's just we all need to realise what's happening in the game and go, right, they might be up, they might be pressing us a lot for 10 minutes. Let's spin them for 5 minutes and then gain momentum back.
You mentioned kind of the anxiety that you'll or the other team will get when you guys are having the short passes back and forth and they get antsy. How does it feel for you as a center back when you guys can't get on the ball like the game turned in the second half?
Defensively wise, or you mean offensively?
Both, honestly. So
defensively wise, I'm okay with it because I know if I'm the other centre back, I want them to press me. So then they're leaving a gap. So I know we keep our shape, we stay in a good formation, and we put them into places where we want them to be. So we want to put them wide, so then we can trap them on the side. Offensively, it's just playing that cat and mouse game with the winger or the striker. How close can you get to him to make him bite? If not, drop more deeper. So there's so many different ways, and it's just like I said, it's just on the pitch we need to realise the situation we're in sometimes, especially momentum changes all the time, and it's just coming together so we're all on the same page. I think that's a massive thing because there's no point in me spinning it behind if Manu and Thing aren't ready for it. So it's just being on the same wavelength.
How important have these training sessions been in building confidence within the team getting ready for Saturday?
Yeah, I think they've just been same trainings as always. We always train hard. Confidence is funny. It's just as you get older, you realise you just want to be consistent. And when confidence comes into it, you might start doubting yourself sometimes. And it's just about, as I got older, it's just forget about what happened. So if I give the ball away, there's no point thinking about it. You literally forget about it and go on again. And I think we need to do that a bit more. If someone makes a mistake, just forget about it and just keep running, keep talking, and just having just belief in yourself to say, okay, I made a mistake, but it's fine, I'll go again.
How do you and the staff find that balance between the long-term development, like you talked about, getting the line higher, being more patient in possession, keeping the ball more, versus the short term of a week like this where it's 2 games on the road and then back home next weekend?
It's a very good question. That's the hard thing all the time. Because you want to use time to understand when you start the next season, wherever that is, that you start on a totally different place than you started this year. At the same time, you need to win short term also. So that is to manage to do both is important. So you have to be adaptable. We have to do that. We have to try to do the best out of the squad we have and the availability that we have. So that's why I think we have been a little bit back and forth in what we're doing, because we didn't think about the short term. We will just go for what you believe in. So that is. But now is. I really believe that we can all do something this season, and I know that a lot of things can happen into November, and we just need to keep on believing what we're doing. We need to grow together and be in an attacking position. And then everything is possible, because when you come to a playoff, then everything is 50-50. And if we are on a high, then everything can happen. So first of all, now we need to focus on the good performances and build on these 35 minutes. We played against a good team that had won 7-2 before, and we draw. And then if we get those periods longer, we're going to have more points as well. So that is the main focus.
What are some things that Chicago does well, and how do you get 3 points tomorrow?
I think they're a good playing team. They are a team that believe in what they're doing and they go for it. So they're the strength. At the same time, they can also be their weakness if they lose the ball in a situation that they shouldn't lose it, and we can take them on counterattacks. So they are expansive team. They are energetic. They go after you and they want to play you out. So then it gets a lot of spaces for us to play, but we have to take that fight first and have that togetherness and that aggression we had in the first 35 minutes, because then we will win the ball in higher up in the pitch and you make it much more easier for yourself.
Great things from Ronny Deila and Derrick as well. A quick update on availability report heading into Saturday. Stian Gregerson was training individually with the trainers, unsure of what his availability would be looking like for tomorrow. Tristan Muyumba is available for selection in the match against Chicago Fire. And Pedro Amador picked up a knock Tuesday in training, but he is slated to be assessed today and tomorrow and will hopefully be available on Saturday.
Yeah, Amador's traveling. He didn't train today to try to have him available for tomorrow. And the team was off on Thursday, so a decent bit of rest for Pedro. Fingers crossed that, I believe it's an ankle, he's going to be able to go. Getting Tristan back in the group is huge. Again, with the amount of games you have coming up, you're going to need some depth. You're going to need Muyumba back in that midfield. I think what stands out to me about what Derrick and Ronny said, Derrick had some great, really detailed elements of how things work, how it works for him as a center back, what he sees, and then how the collective fits. And I think you get the sense that it's still not quite fitting consistently enough for everybody to do what the game plan is. For Ronny, the question I ask him is something that's been really floating through my head a lot here lately, and you come into a team like Ronny Deila did, and he's focused on trying to get the back line higher up the field. Because if the back line's higher up the field, you can pin teams into their half more effectively. But that's not just saying do it. It doesn't happen that way. I think you saw it against Nashville in a 90-minute stretch. Early on, they did it. They had the ball, and they were able to build up and then get high up the field, and the back line follows. The team needs to be connected. Against Nashville in the second half, when they didn't have the ball, they had to drop back and defend, and you weren't able to press the ball high up the field, and then everything goes back the other way. You want that back line to not be like it was for Atlanta United in the second half last year, where it was very deep and you played on the counter. It's not how this team is built to play. You want to be high up the field, but to get there, you have to have more of the possession. And we haven't seen consistently dominant possession work from Atlanta. Having the ball, building the ball, keeping the ball, being safe with the ball, and progressing the ball high up the field. It's been short bursts of getting high up the field. that isn't going to work in the long term. You've got to have possession, and you've got to pin teams in deep to allow the back line to go high up the field. That doesn't happen overnight. And you look at Pep Guardiola's teams at Bayern Munich, that was a big point that he made going to Bayern was, I want the back line to be high. It took 3 years to really get where he wanted. Now, doesn't mean you can't be successful along the way and progress, but these things don't happen overnight. You've got to give this coaching staff and this group time to work. The coaching staff has to convince the players of what's needed. The players then have to believe it and perform it and execute it. And when you have missteps along the way in that process, changes happen and you make changes. It's not an overnight process to flip a switch for a team to change the way that they play. Ronny Deila has a very clear way of what he wants to do. It's just not going to happen in 11 games. You've got to have some patience in getting there. And more than anything for him, you got to have consistency in performance and consistency in lineup selection.
Consistency is always key, especially heading into Saturday's matchup. Atlanta United on the road to face Chicago Fire. That's going to be tomorrow at Soldier Field at 2:30 p.m. Myself and Abe Gordon will have the pregame show on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app starting at 1:30 p.m. And then we'll toss it over to Mike and Jason as they will be down in Chicago getting ready for the match.
We have consistency in our lineups tomorrow. Hopefully we see some consistency at Soldier Field.